This is Kyle Martin Paintings.
Hey, welcome back to my painting channel. My name is Kyle Martin, and in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about some easels that I've used for plein air painting, and we're also going to unbox a new easel that Geek just sent me. I haven't opened this box yet. You can see it's still sealed up, but I wanted to let you know before we get into things that Geek did send me this easel for free, and they wanted me to let you know if you do think that the features of this easel are right for you. They're offering a discount code for viewers of my channel, and the discount code is in the description of this video, and that'll get you 15% off of this easel. Before we get started and before we open this easel, I want to talk a little bit about plein air easels and some things that I look for and some things that are deal breakers as far as having a plein air easel. When you're painting outdoors, easels are not toys. Imagine if you had somewhere very important to get to in your vehicle and the car broke down on your way to get there. Maybe it wouldn't put you in a bad mood, but you at least would be spending some time figuring out how you're going to get to your destination, and you'd have to figure out how to fix your vehicle so that you could get it back into operating condition. And it's the same thing with a plein air easel. When you're out working on a painting, you don't want to have your easel break down because it's going to set you back. You might still be able to finish up the painting session that you're working on, but you're going to have to spend some time mending your easel in the future and figuring things out so that you can get back on the road to painting. Many different easels over the past 15 or 20 years of painting, and I want to just share some of the easels that I've used with you so that we can get a better idea of what I'm looking for when I unbox this new easel. The first easel that I want to talk about is the classic French box easel. This style of easel is the first easel that I ever painted on. When I took painting class in art school, we had a plein air day, and as a part of the supplies when I took painting class, we had to purchase a French box easel. And this happens to be the Maybeth Italian version of the French box easel. And this is a nice easel for getting started in plein air painting. The reason is you can fit all of your supplies in this tray or under the tray as it goes back in. There's a pallet that goes into it. Everything slides up. And of course, it collapses down, the legs fold up, and it just becomes a little suitcase. I think a lot of you are probably familiar with an easel of this style just because you see a lot of people working on these kinds of easels. I really like this easel. So this is the easel when it's collapsed down into the suitcase and you have this little carrying handle. I attach these backpack straps to it. You can wear this thing like a backpack. That's really comfortable, actually. And you can store a wet canvas on the easel part of the French easel and hike with all of your stuff comfortably into the field and paint with it. To me, if anybody is getting into painting, I always tell them to get a French easel. And I really would recommend one of the French easels that's made with beechwood. This is the Maybeth M27 easel, I think is what it's called. I've had 3 of these. They are the best made ones in my opinion. If you get one of the cheap ones, like the Julian that's available from Blick, Julian offers 2 different tiers of easels. Well, everything will go wrong with your French easel if you're not constantly mending it and putting it back together. I can see the hardware in this one came out. It looks like the wood is cracked. This is not a beechwood version. This is a cheaper $100 Dick Blick Julian easel. This arm, which is supposed to connect the easel, fell apart. You can see on my Maybeth easel, I had to repair the leg right here. I had to mend that back together because I was painting out in the field. And all of a sudden my easel started dipping over to the side. Well, I think that this is the time tested and true easel. However, you're going to want to upgrade the hardware in your French easel so that it's not constantly coming apart. This one you can see the wood is splitting right here. I've had to drill some of this hardware out and put new pieces in. I think you can make it work, but if you're not handy with wood tools, maybe your friend is, or you're gonna make really good friends with the carpenter in your area who can help to fix this thing and repair it and keep it going. So French easels are great, but everything will go wrong with them. French easels are great, and to me they're it's kind of like a warm blanket and a cup of tea on a cold winter day like today. They're just heartwarming. You can pretend that maybe some of the old time painters like Paul Cézanne would be working on a French easel or something like this. And to me, this is the style of easel that I started on. So these are close to my heart. The second type of easel that we can talk about is a pochade box. In order to use a pochade box, of course, you need a tripod. And I have a tripod here. A pochade box is something like this where you have a quick release plate. You can open the pochade box up, slide your canvas in. You have a mixing surface and a place that holds your painting. I have a couple of different pochade boxes. This is what I'm holding here is more of a thumb box. I wouldn't consider this necessarily one that would fit on top of an easel. But the problem with these is that anytime I've had one, like the Easel Versa easel that I used for a long time, this place that bends to hold it up will slam shut while you're working if there's any kind of wind. Like today, there's just a light breeze. Maybe things wouldn't necessarily slam shut, but you can imagine working on a painting. Like I can remember painting at Moonlit Bay outside of Bailey's Harbor in Door County, and I was painting with Dan Cross from the Ideas Gallery, and I had a umbrella hooked up to my pochade box, and I was happily painting while the wind came along and slammed this thing shut. And also the rubber gasket that is on the Easel Versa easel, I don't have that one out here right now. It kind of got worn out and it just the bushing or the rubber gasket is gone, so it no longer functions. I'm not saying that there's not pochade boxes that work really well, but for me, I tend to not enjoy using pochade boxes as much as other kinds of easels. It's another little box that I have that could be attached to a tripod. And of course, that said, a major part of your setup if you're using a pochade box is going to be your tripod as well. This one is a carbon fiber tripod that I paid probably about $100 from Amazon. And the leg is broken. So there's a plastic insert inside these legs. And as you extend and as you telescope these legs out, inside of here, there's these little plastic pieces. You can see it right here. Plastic is not a good material for any kind of easel when it comes to plein air painting. On this particular easel, this leg blew out, and now this leg does not telescope back into itself. And to me, what that means is that I can keep it around if I needed a tripod. And I don't like sitting around and doing all this kind of thing, twisting my wrist a million times while I'm setting up and tearing down. What it means for me, because that plastic piece is broken, is that this is the way that it telescopes down into itself. Still usable, but it's been mended. Okay, it didn't work very well. And to me, that's because it used plastic pieces. I do have a better easel that I actually found at the thrift store. It's a Manfrotto Bogan tripod, and that thing is foolproof. I think that's up in my studio right now. My daughter's sleeping, otherwise I would go get it. Another easel system that is popular with plein air painters is a tripod tray. So this is a very simple tray that I've used on a tripod, and this, when used in conjunction with a panel holder on your easel, this little panel holder this is an iPod holder or iPad holder that I bought off of Amazon a couple of years ago, and it's a cold shoe. It's called a cold shoe mount, and this cold shoe mounts directly onto the ball head of your tripod. This, I suppose, could be tightened down a little bit. And this is a very clever little panel holder that I like using quite a bit if I'm working small. That's like an 8x10, and this is pretty secure, and this does not block any of the painting surface. This, I think I only paid $7 or $8 for, although I think I got some kind of a deal on that one. And then, of course, you have your little tray here, and this tray can hold your painting palette and probably your solvent can and whatever other tools you need during your painting session. This is not a bad setup. To me, this is more sturdy than using a pochade box, because the pochade box sits on this single point tension, whereas here we have a double tension point. And I think that for me, if I'm usually mixing with a knife, and having a double, having something really sturdy like this makes sense more than a pochade box. Here's another one that I have. I think this is called the Artist Pro Easel. This is just the same kind of thing. Notice this one expands from, I don't think I've ever actually painted on this one. He sent me the wrong size, the person who created this. Now this is a little palette that I could squeeze out my tube colors into, and then when I'm done painting, I could just throw this in the freezer, preserve my tube colors, and this fits right inside of the easel. So this is kind of another little clever design. I know the person who designed this easel based the design off of Josh Bean's prolific painter setup. And I think, there's a lot of different styles of this sort of art panel and easel pochade. This to me is a sturdy setup. However, you need to have a really good tripod, because if you're going to be out plein air painting and your tripod gives out, these sort of setups rely on having a solid tripod. Manfrotto, a Bogan or Manfrotto tripod is what I would recommend, not one of these $100 carbon fiber tripods that you can find on Amazon. So I like this setup a lot more than I like the pochade box setups. Here's another box that I made with my friend Josh. We made some of these boxes. You can see there's a little paint left on the palette from back then, but this is just the same kind of idea as that shelf that I made. It's just a mixing surface, but it's sturdy and it's nice. Another easel that I've shown on the channel before is the Soultech easel. This is the Soultech 2.0, and I like this easel. Easy to set up. This is the larger version, and the setup goes very quickly, and it's a pretty sturdy easel. Not bad for plein air painting. I will say and there's a palette that goes inside of here. I will say that I did have one piece break on this easel, and I never did a second review, and I can see one of the hardware pieces is missing. This piece of plastic right here broke on this easel. I contacted Soultech, and they got me out a new piece for it the same day that I contacted them, so I appreciate the customer service. However, this easel is not foolproof either. Some plastic pieces. I think a theme that I always think about when I'm thinking about easels that I'm using is, if there's plastic, is that plastic going to hold up? I don't know. In this case, it didn't hold up, and this piece broke. It cracked right in half. It's thin right through here, and it cracked right through there, and I was left without an easel for that painting session. Another thing is, when you have a canvas on here, this piece gets somewhat floppy, and you can crank this tension device down, this tension screw, but look how small this tension screw is. And I actually started to strip out the Allen head key with that. So I'm going to come up with a different way to keep this upright if I'm going to use this easel in the future. I think this was the most expensive easel that I have. I think it was around $700 by the time I received it. And finally, I want to talk about all of these easels I've mentioned have had problems. But I do have one easel that is my favorite, that is foolproof, and that I feel like is the best plein air painting easel. Every easel I've talked about up to this point has been ridden with problems and has fallen apart and just isn't that great for when you're working outdoors. Again, a plein air easel is not a toy. This easel is the easel that I recommend more than any other. And this is my cherished Take It easel. This easel has a huge footprint, a very wide footprint. So unlike many of the other easels, this easel is very unlikely to blow over in the wind. Additionally, I like the way that the panel attaches to this easel, because in windy conditions, this thing is locked into place. Another thing that I like about this easel is the huge space that it has for a mixing surface. So here I have this huge pochade box, or this huge pallet box, and there's like a 18 by 24 inch pallet that fits inside of this. And that's a nice large work surface. Finally, the thing that you want is you want to be out of the sun while you're plein air painting. And with this easel, it's very easy to get yourself out of the sun just by attaching an umbrella. This is called the Best Umbrella. It's available. It's only like 20 bucks on Amazon, and I happen to like this umbrella quite a bit. Notice it's attached to the sturdy leg of the easel. It's not attached to the lid of a pochade box, or it's not attached to anything that can move. This is a sturdy leg. So when you attach your umbrella to something sturdy, it's not going to fly away. This easel is worth its weight in gold. I don't think I used any of these other easels at all during the last year. I think that, well, at least for 95% of the painting that I did, I used this Take It easel. I think that this is made by a family out east, and the old time painters would use this large format easel while painting on the rocky coastlines on the East Coast, in the weather conditions. This is the real deal easel. This is the only, if I had to recommend one easel to you, I'd say get yourself a French easel to get started. And then when you put in some mileage as a plein air painter and you're sick of repairing your French easel, get yourself a Take It easel, because this thing is a workhorse. It's the real deal. I've been using this painting easel since Violet was born, and she's 18 months old now. 18 months I've been using this easel, and none of the hardware has even required tightening. I have done no maintenance to this easel, unlike every other easel that I've shown you where things have broken apart and I've had to fix them. Now, that said, there is a knockoff version available at Jerry's Artorama called the Beauport easel. And this thing will work for a while. However, on this specimen that I have here, I have 3 or 4 of these in the shed. All are broken down. It might be this one. The leg, this leg is seized, and sometimes they'll get seized up so badly that you can't even extend the leg or take it down. However, with the genuine take it easel. This leg goes up and down. There's no fuss. It's just this knob right here. You just pull this knob and it slides ever so. It just slides perfectly up and down. These screws that are put in here, I've never had to even change a screw. Well, on this cheap knockoff version, these are all skateboard hardware. These are all bolts from the mounting hardware on my skateboard. I had to take the bolts off of my skateboard to hold this easel back together. And this easel it's sturdy once you get it set up, but it's nowhere near as nice as the genuine Take It easel. So that said, I don't like easels that break down, and I don't like easels that have plastic parts. I don't think of plein air easels as toys. I know there's so many on the market, and there's so many cool YouTube videos to watch where you're exploring the different options that are out there. But the goal of all those things is to get out and use them for plein air painting. And if I'm going to go out plein air painting, the last thing I want is some rickety easel that's going to fall apart, because it's going to stand, it's going to create a barrier in between me creating the painting that I want to create. So let's check out the Craft Geek easel. Apparently this easel sets up in seconds. The easel unfolds and locks with a simple twist locks. It's portable and compact. This easel folds up to 19.8 inches, perfect for travel. Height flexibility, works for tabletop and standing setups. I don't use tabletop setups, but it says that this can go up to 65 inches. It's stable on all surfaces. It says it's stable on all surfaces. Secure twist locks and non-slip pads make it reliable, even outdoors. Versatile use, holds various canvas sizes, and supports digital devices. If I don't like this for plein air painting, maybe I can put my iPad on it when I'm in the studio. Extra convenience, integrated hook for tools. So those are the features that they asked me to touch on. Let's crack this box open and see what we have. We have the retail package. It's the Craft Geek Inspire easel stand. Unpack the easel stand, pull sideways for canvas holder, pull out anchor to stabilize, adjust and lock to set up your preference. All right. Oh, don't put your hands in here, otherwise you're going to pinch your fingers. It says this easel is compact and portable, folds up with no hassles, so it can go with you anywhere, all in one. Fast and easy setup, extra sturdy with stable anchors. This thing might be kind of cool. For more easel stand and accessories, visit craftgeek.com. Here we have the quick start guide. I think we just had this on the box. This is kind of nice. This is a piece of vellum paper. When I was in graphic design school, I used to create a lot of projects that were printed on vellum just for that sort of, it's got kind of a space age look to it, and it feels nice to crinkle in my hands. Pull out the sides, pull out the anchor, unlock the bottoms. Well, let's just see how this works. Here we have a user's manual. Many instructions in many different languages. And finally, this is kind of this is not styrofoam. This is a different kind of foam than I've ever experienced before in this box. I might save this box and put the easel back in it if I'm not using it. So here's the Craft Geek easel. And it should be easy to figure out. Lock and unlock. What does that mean? It's locked. I think this thing is child safe. All right, we got to open up the user's manual. This thing is locked in place. It's First off the bat, it's somewhat heavy. This is a dark oak version of the easel, I believe, and I don't think it's real wood. This is just a plastic veneer that they put on this easel. It feels heavy, and in general, it feels heavy and it looks kind of sleek. Step one, pull the legs out on each side. Okay, so maybe, oh, yeah, just as. So, right off the bat, that is somewhat sturdy inside. Step two is drop this down. And now, if you were, I suppose, working at this at a tabletop, this would be, and this is somewhat stable. These rubber grips on the bottom are holding it in place on this wooden surface that I have it sitting on. Ah, there we go. That is a somewhat simple twist lock. You just, the base of the easel has this little infographic, twist it to the left and extend the leg. And the same thing here. Twist it to the left, extend the leg. Twist it to the left and extend the leg. Guess I didn't extend it all the way. This is a different design than I've ever seen in any other easel. And then these tabs, it's so cold out. I think the temperature has dropped 10 degrees since I've been outside working on this. I think somehow in here there's a ledge to set the canvas on. You know what? Let's go in the chicken coop and start a fire. I'm so cold right now. I can't even take my gloves off of my hands. I think it's only in the single digits for a temperature right now. So I'm going to go in the chicken coop and start a fire, and we'll continue this review while we're in there. I'm so happy to be cozy inside the studio again. And sometimes it's easy to be inside painting in the studio. And when you go outside on a day like today, the weather conditions can make things different than they are in the studio. Painting in a studio is oftentimes a luxury. It's the same with an easel. You might have an easel that works fine in the studio. When you're outside in the weather, things can be different and your easel can break down. And wind and cold and all of that can have an effect on the easel. So let's take a look here first of all. So while I was waiting to warm up and I was standing by the fire, I looked through the instruction manual, and it looks like what they... It's so cold that my battery on my GoPro keeps dying. It's not actually dead, it's just so cold that it's not functioning properly. To set up the Craft Geek easel, you hold it, you pull out the side legs, and then you pull out the easel back. You slide those into place. You twist this little knob here, which allows you to extend the leg. As with most easels, it's just a tripod design with 3 legs. From there, apparently, oh, here we go. There is a canvas holder lid. I can't get my finger inside of this canvas holder at the bottom in order to pull these out, but these 2 tabs are what your canvas sits on, and then this tab here is the top of the canvas. So I have a 20-inch by 24-inch painting panel here, and I'm putting it onto the easel, and things seem somewhat sturdy. It's not exactly level, so what I would want to do is just unextend these legs here, and I think for the most part it seems somewhat sturdy. It seems like I could paint on it at this point. Here's the thing about this easel. This is an easel that, in my opinion, would make sense as a studio easel and not a plein air easel. Because this easel is imagining that you already have a tabaret or something sitting next to you where you can set your things, like your palette, and work from. So this easel is going to assume that you have somewhere to set your table, whether or to set your palette and your painting supplies. There's no, I guess right here is supposed to be a hook, but what are you going to hook on here? I don't know. It says that you could hook a bag or something to put your painting supplies. Even this easel that my daughter has, that we're giving her for Christmas, has a little table where she can set her things on in order to paint. It's cool to have a tripod easel, one that can hold a canvas, but that's only half of the painting process. You need somewhere to set all your other things. So if you had something like this that you could hook on, then you would have a place for the palette and the painting accessories, or you need to set a table next to this easel. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of this easel. Number one, I think that it looks really nice. I think we live in a society where we value things that are cool looking, and this looks like an easel. This is kind of like the iPhone of easels as far as the looks go. So the looks are good. I like the looks. I also think that it's decently sturdy, especially in here on this concrete floor. So those are the two good things about this easel. For me, I cannot easily fold these little tabs out that are supposed to support the painting surface. So I just need to keep a coin in my pocket if I was going to use this easel. So I don't like that. I also don't like that you can't raise or lower the bottom of the easel. If I'm outside painting, I want the canvas to be at eye level. So if I'm working on a painting surface, I would have it up this high. Well, with this easel, you can't go any higher than this, at least with the factory settings. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm sure if I felt like I wanted to experiment with this easel, I could probably make it work. However, I can't get it off of the ground at all. This piece that extends is made of, I think that this is made of metal, but look at this. This is starting to bend and flex. And this top piece is completely made of plastic. And so when I start to think about plastic on my easel, I start to think about all the times that I've been out in the field painting and I've had an easel break down. And then I think about all the times that plastic has broken on one of those cheap tripods that I got from Amazon. And I don't like to think about that. I think that these tabs that hold the canvas are made of metal, but I do think that this piece right at the top is made of plastic. Look at how tiny these screws are that hold this thing together. Do you think I'm going to be outside working on a 20-inch by 24-inch painting surface with any sort of trust that this is going to work? I'm not sure about that. I suppose I could get the painting surface. I could use this easel and get the painting surface up to eye level if I did something like that. Now I have the painting surface up to eye level, but still there's nowhere for me to put my palette. Maybe now, if I did that. No, see, now this part up here is too thick that this won't go on. So I have these arms on this panel, this pallet holder, extended as wide as they will go. I think I can fit it on here now, but I have to push the legs together, and that's fine. So this would work as a painting setup. Now I have the painting panel held up high, and I have a surface to set. I was able to attach this pallet box to the bottom, to the legs of the easel, and this would actually work for doing a small painting for me. I still don't like that there's no way built in to raise the painting surface up. I mean, this is going to block a lot of the painting surface if I had to use a clamp. And also, this is only an 8-inch by 10-inch panel. I don't foresee doing that with a 12 by 16-inch panel. This is just going to break, okay? This piece right here, it's so flexible that I can just tell. See, in order to get this pallet holding box on the legs, I have to fold the legs up a little bit. This is just going to break right here. You know, it is quite flexy. Maybe it won't break. But overall, it doesn't, for my needs out in the field, I'm going to have to say that, I'm sorry, Craft Geek, I don't think that this is the right easel for me out in the field. Additionally, I don't think it'll work that well in the studio either, because I think that I would use it to set my iPad in the studio, but I think that these are too far apart as far as the canvas holding legs. I can see using it for a panel about this size, 20 by 24 inches. This doesn't seem bad to me. Or for a display easel. But do you really want to spend $150 on a display easel? I don't think I would spend $150 on this easel just to have it as something in my studio, or just to have it as a display easel. I don't know. I'm beating around the bush, but the other thing that I'm noticing, I think that these legs have those little plastic inserts as well. I think that with heavy use outdoors, these legs would break as well, because I can see in there, just like on my other easel, how I talked about the legs breaking because the plastic inserts would break. I'm not sure that this easel has those. The legs might be halfway decent on this easel, but I'm just not sure. I think it's a cute easel. I think that I'll find a use for it in my studio. I really do like the look at it. I appreciate Craft Geek sending me this easel for free. This little hook right here, this is made of plastic. Just looking to see if there's anything else in the instructions. And it looks like the demonstration photo that they have here is that you can actually extend this up and lock it into place. And then if you unlock it, okay, and that's kind of a solid action right there. It's kind of nice that they have this lock right here. There's also a tripod head right here, which is somewhat interesting. Can you see? This right here, I'm just noticing, is so that you could use a screw and put a quick release plate on this, which might open it up for some different uses. That might be a better use than actually using the included easel holding straps, is that you can put a quick release plate on here with a ball head, and then essentially what you could do is attach this to the top. And again, this is a little panel holding thing. So let's get into my final thoughts on this review. To me, it would work fine in the studio if I was working on like a 20-inch by 24-inch painting. I think that the quality and the build of this is similar to about a $100 or $200 carbon fiber easel that you would purchase off Amazon. I think that the legs are sturdier than I thought that they were going to be, and it excels in looks and it excels in the quality of the legs. However, I don't like the plastic parts that are on this easel, and I don't like the flexibility of this top. I also don't like that there's nowhere for you to set your palette unless you invest a couple $100 into something like this. I think that I'm just beating around the bush, and I'm going to say, sorry, Craft Geek, I wouldn't recommend this easel to anybody because I think that there's better options out there. I think that if you need a studio easel, buy yourself a wood easel, like from Jack Richardson and Company, that's going to work well in your studio. Don't buy something. This is basically a tripod. This is no better than a tripod to me. Because a tripod, I'm not going to be able to use it for this function of holding a canvas anyway. And it doesn't hold my palette. And it doesn't even work well as a tripod because I have to fold it halfway back together in order to get the palette holding shelf onto it. And I need a ball head from a tripod anyway to attach a panel holding easel onto it. So I'm sorry to say, for the world of plein air painting, there's much better choices out there. You don't want something that's going to break and fall apart on you. And I can already tell that the plastic pieces on this Craft Geek easel are not going to hold up under any sort of harsh painting conditions. So I feel kind of bad about making this review, but I also don't want my channel to be just a channel where I'm blindly co-signing products that I don't feel are that good. This is a piece of plastic right here. This is likely plastic. Plastic doesn't work for plein air painting easels, period. It just doesn't. So, sorry, Craft Geek. There's better choices out there. For everybody who made it this far in the video, I appreciate it. If you want an easel for plein air painting, get yourself a Take It easel. Skip the Craft Geek and skip all of the toy easels. Get yourself a decent easel. All right. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. It doesn't feel good to me to feel like Craft Geek spent money to send me this easel, and I just don't think that it's going to be a good review. Even this whole wooden thing, it's made to look like wood, but it's plastic. Okay? Wood works better than plastic for plein air easels. I feel bad that Craft Geek spent money to send me this easel because I'm not giving it a favorable review as far as plein air painting equipment goes. I will put it in my studio, and maybe it will hold my iPad, but even for holding my iPad, I would like my iPad to be up higher than belly button height. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm just being honest with you, and I don't want you to spend your money on something that is not going to work out for you in the long run. If you actually want something that's going to work, get yourself a Take It easel. And if you want something that's a little bit more portable, get yourself a French easel from Maybeth with the backpack straps. All right. Thanks so much for being here for this plein air easel review. We'll see you in the next video.